Good morning, World Wide Web, and welcome to the YouTube channel if you haven't been here. I like to do little videos, especially, I like helping people, and if I get asked enough, I'll try to do a video. This is one on something that I'm not real knowledgeable at, but this part I'm gonna show how to get the screen in game and connect it via the config. So basically I'm going to use a little test aircraft package. I mean, this is an absolute little piddly aircraft I made in about 5 minutes yesterday. Just a single piece. I mean, it's just something, and I made it into a package here, so I can actually and here's my package. This is extra. And so I can actually build it. I build outside the game by using a shortcut to the FS package tool. And if you don't know how to do that, you go to your SDK, tools, and bin. Yeah. And then you just create a shortcut to this, throw it on your desktop, or drag right onto it doesn't matter. This is the same executable that you would be using to build in-game, where you're using the menus in the game. It's the same difference. But anyway, back to where we were. Say we want to put an HTML gauge. This could be a tablet or an actual gauge, right? That would. Now, the thing. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just put a dot up here where I want it to go. That looks good. I like using a plane, and now some people like using cubes because it helps with them get it straight in front. But the plane is always UV projected correctly. In other words, you don't have to worry about expanding the UV or anything later. So I like using the plane. Now the problem with using a plane is if you look straight down at it with the button here from there, this is how the text would be upright. Well, so the problem with the plane is right now it's facing up and away from where we need it to. So we need to rotate it this way first. But it's still facing the front. And if we look at the face orientation, you can see the blue's still here and the red's still here. So it's still not right. What we need to do is now rotate it 180 around this way. Now, normally I would do that with these numbers. Oh, wow, I got it pretty close, didn't I? So that it's more exact. 900 degrees won't work. There we go. That was pretty darn close. Yeah, I missed by half a degree there. Wow. I'd have never guessed. I would have just randomly thrown it there. There we go. Now it's exactly square. And I like to keep things exactly square, so when you're resizing, because now it keeps it straight. If you resize something that's tilted, it'll skew it. It may not be a flat plane anymore. So always try to keep it world oriented until you get it sized. Now in this case, we need to make the screen relatively the same size as the instrument, which we don't know. Okay, how do we know that? Well, I'm going to use the simplest HTML gauge to test with, and that's the Aera. And the way you know what size it is part of the things you need are the some of the config files or the comments from some of the config files. So I'll go in here and I'll find an aircraft that has the gauge or the tablet or the screen that I want. And in this case, we'll use the icon. And honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm not doing this correctly, because there's a couple of things, and either I'm not doing it correctly, or there's some, let me see, there it is. And there's a couple of things that I'm doing that you're not really supposed to do, but I have to with the Blender and the plugin. I'm not so sure I can do it the way they Yeah, I'll explain it when I get to it. So the files we're going to need to edit will be the cockpit or interior XML. This is the one that will contain the code for the instruments. And I'm just going to temporarily copy these out. And then the other two we're interested in are these. Okay. And again, I'm just going to copy these out because we're going to borrow some of the code, but not all. And back to my package. And these would be edits in this directory. But where we get the size is in the panel config. Yep, on the other screen. Here we go. And here's the Aera screen. And wow, why did they do this? And that's the part that we need to borrow. Now, of course, we'll have to edit a little bit. So we'll go in here, and here's my panel, and we will open that on this screen. And I didn't copy it. So copy it into here. You may have others, in other words, and if you do, ouch, I gotta fix that. I can't stand not seeing it. In other words, see how these are 01, 02, 03, 04. You can have as many glass cockpits as you want, provided this is starting at 01 and then sequential. So you can put, you know, I could put one in here, and then I would name it 04 and rename all of these 05 and 06 so that it's sequential, and that would work. Okay, this is, close that one. Now, that's all we'll need in here, but we do need to make some edits. And the first edit, let's get all this stuff together where I can see the data. This is all unnecessary. It reads it per line. I'm just backing all the lines up and spacing them so I can read it easier. I'm kind of neurotic about organization, so sorry about that. There we go. And then there's then this has to match something in there. So anyway, here's what we were looking at. This screen should be roughly 1280 by 800. Now, I don't measure them. I just saying, okay, that's about 1280 by 800, roughly. For the, I mean, you should probably want to measure it a little bit and get it relatively the size. And then, let me undo that, because I do want to reduce the total size a bit. It's a bit big. It's the size of an airplane. And I'll take it down. Alright, and then we can, now once it's sized, then you can move it around. Alright, I also like to Control A and set scale. I don't know why. I just, one of those things, I like having everything as simple as possible. Alright, so here's the key and the trick to get them working is you gotta have first this name. Now we're gonna rename it, and remember us. Here's one of the things that I think may be related to the plugin. I have to have that prefix. Whatever name I use has to have that if it's a touch screen. If it's not a touch screen, you don't need it. Now, here in the latest SDK docs, they actually say not to use it. But if I don't use it, touchscreen doesn't work. And I think that has to do with the Blender plugin or Blender itself. So let's see. We will just call this Aera test. This can be pretty much any name you want, but this right there has to match this material. Okay, it doesn't have to match the object or the mesh itself. It has to match the material name right here. That's the glue that ties it all to this other one, to the configs. And then here's kind of the settings that I have to use to get it to work. and I'm not using this. Another reason why I think this is probably not 100% correct. Alright, I'll change this, make sure this is Christian Burley, metallic to 100, or 1, roughness to 1, and emissive to 0. That's it. This should work if we build it. Okay. Save, and we'll export that in a minute. Now the problem with that emissive, and this is new, this last one, is that I have to add a line here, and I'm not even sure where it came from. I have to add that line right there. If I don't add that line, it won't work. So now I don't know why, but those are the two big differences that is why I'm not sure I'm doing it right. Is I have to have that, and I have to have that. This I only have to, I mean, it'll work without the prefix, but the buttons you won't be able to click or change the screen, so that's no good. Alright, this is done, and so is the model. Now we still have some more work in the thing. So let's select everything and export this. And I'll go into my package sources, sim objects, airplanes. What does that? There we go. That's what it looks like. Now here, I want to make sure I'm on this. Oh, and I need the textures. The easiest way for me to get the textures is just go in here. Control C right here while it's selected, and then Control V right there. That gives me the texture output correct. And then remember settings, why not? Now we got to go back to be sure to go back to the model folder. The only settings here I even mess with is I disable this last one. This is the latest Asobo plugin. If you don't have that, you'll only have one here, and just you'll only have one of these, and just leave it enabled. Okay, let's see. Are we ready? Everything looks right. Yeah. Let's export that. Doesn't take but a second, and we can close this. Yeah, sure, save. All right. So we have this, and that will almost get it in game. Now we're going to need this here, but before I want to show you the absolute bare minimum to get it in game. So we go here to the model XML. Now yours will be named whatever the aircraft is, but this is our model XML, and it's the same name as it should be. The same name as the model. It's whatever's listed right here. And this one only has one model. You should have two here on a bigger aircraft, and you're looking for the interior again. And as you can see, I have only the common include behavior, and here I'll go back to the icon file, and we need one more include, and that's this Aera tablet code. The includes just tells the game what templates to load, and so now it'll load the templates for the Aera tablet. So we'll save that. Okay, that's edit number 2. We have the model XML, and we're adding the behavior file we need to push this thing, and we have this comment, your vCockpit comment in the panel config. Now here I also borrowed this file from the icon, and it's got a lot of stuff. The bare minimum we absolutely have to have is that. Now, right now, without this file even in our build, the tablet will show up. But for some reason, if you don't include this instrument in the XML, then you won't see the buttons on the right. You won't be able to see the stuff. These I usually leave. They're all here. Let me expand this. These are a whole bunch of stuff that goes from there all the way to the end. So, I usually leave these, they're just sound warnings that I guess are associated with it. So, I would, if this were me, I would remove these two instruments. So you got one going from there to there, and then you got another instrument going from there to there. This is a radio, and this is the transponder. So we could remove those for sure. We don't have those. And this is all you have to have. Okay. That's all you got to have right there. Well, and the closing statement for the. Now I'll go ahead and leave the voice alerts, because why not? We all want voice alerts. Right? And I'll just save this on the desktop since we've already edited. And wait, wrong one. And copy that in here. That's it. So we've edited the 3 files we need, and we've made the screen and exported it. Now we're ready to build. And like I say, I build externally. You could also open this in the game and build it. And I'll just drag that on my shortcut and build it real quick. See how this goes. Hopefully this will all work. But yeah, that extra comment that I'm having to add, that, and the fact that they literally tell me I shouldn't be using that prefix, but I have to use it. Now I have my outputs renamed. Yours won't have the underscore at the front. And that's the actual test, or the actual add-on that will copy to my yeah, I'll leave all that. Couple of stuff I was working on there. I'll copy that into my community folder and give her a test, see if it works. Now, if you notice, in this panel, XML has this circuit avionics on. This is one of the key commands or whatever. I'm not real sure what you call it. So it'll only turn on when the avionics comes on, which is perfect, right? But I'm not really sure why adding that XML comment that basically just tells it when it has power or not, adds the buttons off to the side. Because if you don't have that XML and you don't have that comment for the Aera, then it'll work. You'll see the main screen with the buttons, and you can change it to the map or to whatever. But once you make one change, you're stuck. You can't get back to any of the other, to the main menu or anything. You're just stuck. If you click on map, that's what you got without turning it off and restarting it, meaning turning the aviation switch off and on. We'll have to load all the way into a game, and we need the test aircraft down here somewhere. There it is, placeholders. Test aircraft. And of course my local airport, just for fun. Then you get to see my great aircraft. Thought about putting it up on the marketplace. Put little wheels on it like a rally racer. Shopping cart kind of wheels. And there it is. I just gotta look at this thing. I don't think I've ever even looked at it in game. I mean, it could be just a box. It was, hey, I'm surprised. At least it's actually sitting like where it goes. Alright, and look, we do have touch screen, so that's a good sign. And I'm just gonna Control E. There it is. You know it worked. Yeah, if you don't have the XML part, you won't get this stuff over here. So, everything else is there. So, but when you get to here, since you don't have this, you're stuck. You can't get to the direct to, or you know, any of the other tabs. And of course it has this tab. So this is a really useful screen for like, even for testing. I like to, I try to put one of these in almost immediately, because you have altitude and everything else you can see visibly, so you can actually fly the airplane. But that's basically the extent of this video. I wanted to show how to get an actual HTML in screen. And these three, these two in the panel, this in the model folder, are the three parts that you have to get working. And the key part that has to match, kind of the glue, what I consider the glue, is you gotta have that matching that material now. And you notice that's the only thing that's anywhere that's connected to anything outside of this model. So you gotta have that. And anyway, I hope that helps some folks. And I maybe I'll try and do one like to add. I'm no coder, so I don't know how to create any of these screens or anything. I mean, I fumbled through a couple and put them in game, you know, where I borrowed code and everything. But I'm not a coder. But I might try and get one like the Hello World sample to show the file structure and how to integrate your own custom gauge that you can then edit any way you want, if you know the coding. But that'll be another video. Again, I hope this helps, and y'all have a wonderful day. See you soon.